In modern life, pulling out the phone, ordering a cup of milk tea, or calling a car has become a daily habit. Little did anyone expect the dangers lurking. Like a college student, as well as many others, who accidentally caught a car late at night. The moment she opened the door and stepped in, a life-threatening window had collapsed. A broken fence had already been built, and no matter where she was, she could not escape. In the end, she was stabbed more than 120 times. Blood was all over the car. Everything around her was red. This case caused a whole college to fall into chaos and spread a dangerous layer of suspicion. This incident even promoted the implementation of an important law to protect passengers from those who take advantage of the transportation service to cause trouble. So what terrible thing happened to that girl? You are watching Dark Case Channel, where we explore the most mysterious cases, the most mysterious stories that you may have never heard of. As usual, before learning about the case that shook public opinion in Columbia, South Carolina, don't hesitate to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell to support us. And now, let's find out more about this case. Columbia, the largest city in the heart of South Carolina. This city has a long history, has been a capital since 1786, and has developed into an important commercial and transportation center. However, during the Civil War, Columbia went through a severe disintegration before being rebuilt into a modern city. The famous South Carolina University is lost here, and this is where the tragedy of the girl Samantha happened. Samantha Josephson, a last-year student at South Carolina University, is about to graduate and nurture bright hopes for the future. She intends to pursue law by law, with the dream of becoming a lawyer. Born on August 13, 1997. In Princeton, New Jersey, she grew up in an educated family where her parents were all highly educated. She has a sister who is 2 years older than her, and the whole family lives in harmony and happiness. Since childhood, Samantha has been a cheerful and often jokes that make the whole family laugh. Close friends love her for her cheerful personality, always full of positive energy. During her studies, she always achieves excellent results, becoming the pride of her teacher and family. After graduating from middle school, she was able to enroll at South Carolina University to study political science. Throughout her years at the university, Samantha is an active student, not only good at studying, but also eager to participate in foreign exchange activities. She is a member of the Alpha Gamma Delta Women's Association, an organization that encourages leadership, academic achievement, and social responsibility of women. In addition, she also participated in the student exchange program in Barcelona and had the opportunity to explore many places in the world. During those trips, she witnessed many hardships, and that prompted her to pursue law with the desire to protect justice. Samantha's dream is to become a third-rate human rights lawyer like Aman Clooney, a famous British lawyer, specialized in human rights and international cases. When she was a sophomore, Samantha met Greg, a man with more than one key, in a bar. They quickly became close and started dating. When Greg graduated in 2018, he did not continue to study, but returned to his hometown in Mount Pleasant, about 2 hours by car from Columbia, to work. Although they were far apart, they still maintained a close relationship by calling each other regularly and meeting on weekends. In 2019, when there were only 2 months left to her graduation, Samantha received good news. She was accepted by the University of New Jersey, a prestigious school for law, students with a full scholarship. Less than 10 minutes later, she continued to receive news that Diop Resend had also accepted and donated her full scholarship. After thinking about it, Samantha decided to choose Resend to reduce the financial burden for the family. Greg's boyfriend also supported and decided to find a job in Philadelphia so that the two of them could be close. Everything was perfect. Samantha had both love and a big career, but no one expected that just in one night, everything was over. On March 28, 2019, Samantha and her friends came to the 5 Point area, less than 1.5 kilometers from the school, to have fun. This is a hot spot with many bars and nightclubs, attracting many students. She and her friends came to Burj Al Qaeda to gather. At about 2 a.m., When she was tired, Samantha decided to go home first, but no one expected that the moment she stepped out of the bar was the last time people saw her alive. Samantha's phone rang without a sound. The message did not respond. Her friends and family began to panic. On March 29th, her friends and family searched everywhere, but to no avail. At 1:30 p.m., they decided to inform the police. Although Samantha had just passed away until 2 p.m., the police were still in a hurry. They quickly went to her apartment to visit her friends and family, collect information about her appearance, her face when she passed away, and immediately spread her image on the media, hoping to get a clue from the people. But no one could imagine the horror that Samantha had to go through. The place where Samantha disappeared was a crowded area with many people coming and going. Someone must have noticed her whereabouts. Unexpectedly, at 4 p.m., the police received an important clue. In the area of New Zealand, Clarendon District, southeast of Columbia City, about 100 kilometers away from the bar, 2 students found a body of a young woman lying on the side of the road in the middle of a bush. The police immediately came to the scene and confirmed that the victim was Samantha. They were in a hurry to find her. According to the autopsy results, there were many small scars on her body, but not deep, caused by a sharp object. The main injuries were in the head, neck, arms, and back, estimated to be at least 121 stab wounds. The French said the large number of injuries made them unable to count, indicating that the killer was really violent and brutal. What was even more strange was that the French discovered the weapon not from a knife, but from a special structure similar to a double-edged knife. The injuries on the victim were also well distributed. They didn't know what kind of weapon they were using. The most shocking detail was that Samantha's body had almost no blood left. According to her weight, the minimum amount of blood was about 4,000 milliliters, but the French only collected about 20 milliliters of blood. This meant that all her blood had been drained, and that little blood was not even enough to make further tests. The cause of death was a sudden loss of blood. This was a process that lasted about 10 to 20 minutes. During that time, Samantha must have suffered the ultimate pain and despair. Just thinking about it was enough to make her cold. When they received the news, her parents and her boyfriend were completely shocked. They couldn't believe that such a vicious girl like Samantha had passed away so tragically. At South Carolina University, where Samantha went to school, she was also severely injured. After the case, all the students in the school were terrified because what Samantha had done that night was what the university students usually did, hanging out with friends and using cell phones. What happened that day meant that anyone could become a victim like her. The students were confused. No one dared to go to the bar or call the police. The police were also under a lot of pressure. If they didn't take action, all the students in the area would continue to live in danger. So they mobilized a large force to investigate the case. The police decided to start the investigation from the last moment when Samantha was seen. On the night of March 28th, Samantha's friends went out for a drink. That night, we talked in the bar. Although Samantha's mood was not very happy, she was still quite normal. At about 2 a.m. on the 29th, she said she wanted to go home and then go to bed. Samantha's boyfriend, Greg, also gave a speech. At first, my girlfriend and I texted her on the phone because her parents were sick, so she was in a bad mood. We texted until 2 a.m. She said she had booked a Uber and was coming. That was the last message I received from her. After that, I didn't receive any more replies. Greg said they shared a location, so he checked his phone and found Samantha's route was not the same as usual. He was supposed to go north to take her home, but instead he went south. Greg felt something was wrong, so he called and texted but couldn't reach Samantha. What was more strange was that Samantha's sharing location was suddenly shut down. It had never happened before. At first, Greg didn't call the police because he thought Samantha was busy with her own business. But when it was still bright and he couldn't reach her, he immediately drove to Columbia to find her. Actually, before calling the police, Greg went to Samantha's room to look for her. He even found a video from the surveillance camera recording the scene where Samantha called the police from that day. After he realized something was wrong, he decided to call the police. Based on this conspiracy, the police quickly identified the key point. Samantha disappeared after calling a Uber. This means that the Uber driver could be a suspect. The police contacted the Uber company and quickly found the driver who received Samantha's car, a man named Marcus. When he was interrogated, Marcus said that he had received Samantha's car, but he couldn't meet her that night. Marcus waited for a while, but no one came to receive her, so he canceled the meeting. The police began to doubt whether Samantha had taken another car by mistake. From this conspiracy, they continued to extract data from the roadside surveillance camera to check. At about 2 a.m. on the 29th, Samantha was standing alone at the corner of the street waiting for the car. She was wearing a red-orange raincoat, black jeans, and a phone in her hand. Although it was late, this area was still quite crowded with many young people gathering. No one was following or approaching her. Samantha was standing still at the point of receiving the car. There was nothing unusual. A gray-silver car stopped near Samantha. She quickly moved up because she thought this was the car she had parked. But it turned out that this was not the car she had called. Samantha turned around and continued to wait. About 30 seconds later, at 2:12 a.m., a black Chevrolet stopped. This time, Samantha moved up and stepped into the car. Right after that, the car disappeared into the night. When the police checked the surrounding security cameras, they found a surprising scene. This black Chevrolet had actually passed through this area many times. Every time it stopped at the corner where everyone was waiting for the car, it stood still for a few minutes and then drove away. This act was like looking for a prey. The people who had just left the bar were the target of this car. Before that, Samantha's image was clearly seen by the driver of the black Chevrolet. This proves that this is a crime that was planned meticulously. The police immediately opened an investigation to look for the black Chevrolet. However, it was a pity that the camera could not record the number of the car, as well as the look of the killer. Until now, the police only have a little information. The suspect drove a black Chevrolet that often appeared in the 5 Spawn area. Due to the restriction, the police only increased the investigation and left all the Chevrolet cars in the area. Usually, when a car is stolen, the killer will try to escape. But not this time. Just a day later, the police quickly arrested the suspect. In fact, instead of saying that the police did a good job, it was too subjective and reckless to fully respect the law. When the police were investigating at 5 Spawn, they found this car was the same as the car in the surveillance camera. Without a moment's hesitation, they immediately stopped the car to check. A man in a white hoodie sat in the car and was asked to step out. But when he just got out of the car, he suddenly turned around and ran away. At that time, there was still a woman on the car. When asked, she was extremely confused and did not understand what was going on. The other side, some police quickly chased the suspect. Just in front of their eyes, they gazed at him. The act of running away before being interrogated proved that he had something shady. However, even though he was arrested, the suspect remained silent in front of all the police questions. He just said that he felt suffocated and asked for an ambulance. When the doctor came to check, they concluded that he was completely healthy. To determine the identity of the suspect, the police took a picture and took his fingerprints. The result showed that he was Nathaniel Rowland, 24 years old. At that time, a group of police officers went to inspect the car. They found a large amount of bacteria, a pink iPhone, bloodstains on the back, seat, and some detergents such as detergent. It is very possible that this car is the scene of the crime. The investigation team quickly gathered evidence from the car on Nathaniel's body and clothes. Knowing that bloodstains were found in the car, he immediately started a story. He said that on March 28th, he attended a family gathering and drank too much alcohol, so he slept in the hotel for a night. The next morning, he found bloodstains in the car, so he bought detergents to clean it up. Nathaniel said that someone had borrowed the car and he didn't know what had happened. He said he was drunk, but when the police asked who had borrowed the car and who attended the meeting that day, he immediately refused to answer for reasons related to his personal rights. His statement was clearly a farce. The police continued to examine the car and found more important evidence. First, the back seat was activated the children's lock system so that many people sitting in the back could not open the door from the inside. Second, there was a footprint, as if someone had tried to break the window but failed. Third, there was a list of things he had bought in the car, such as tape, gloves, gas, and phone. This shows that this could be a list of things to increase the evidence. In addition, the police also discovered an address of a woman named Maria on March 26. Nathaniel's order for that woman was dismissed. After the identification, the police discovered that Maria was Nathaniel's current girlfriend. Meanwhile, the car was washed, but after being checked with luminol, the police found a blood stain. A police officer with 25 years of experience said this was the most terrifying blood stain he had ever seen. In particular, the amount of blood in Samantha's body was almost identical to the amount of blood found on the car. The DNA test results confirmed that the blood stain on the car belonged to Samantha. In addition, the blood stain on the window also matched Samantha's blood stain, and the yellow-pink iPhone found in the car was also hers. The forensic team also checked Nathaniel's fingernails and found traces of Samantha's DNA. In particular, the place where Samantha was found was only 3 kilometers away from Nathaniel's house, an area he was very familiar with. Perhaps this is why Nathaniel chose to kill the victim there. Based on these indirect evidences, the police accused Nathaniel of crimes, including first-degree murder and kidnapping. Samantha's family said Nathaniel's behavior was too violent and was a danger to society, so they asked the court not to let him go outside. The judge agreed and denied his request for bail. Nathaniel Rowland was born in 1994 in South Carolina. He didn't have much information about his childhood, but he was a naughty boy. When he was in middle school, he was the captain of the school's basketball team and a respected coach. When he grew up, he often drove around 5 Points and especially liked to hang out with strange girls. He didn't have a stable job and lived a carefree life and was often involved in illegal activities. In October 2018, 2 men in Colombia kidnapped a woman and stole her belongings. A few hours after the incident, the police found Nathaniel buying stolen goods, proving he was directly or indirectly involved in the kidnapping. The case is still being investigated. Suddenly, the murder of Samantha took place. This shows Nathaniel is a dangerous criminal. However, in front of the police's accusations, Nathaniel is still a criminal and has been arrested. The police have no choice but to pay close attention to the case and complete the case. On July 20, 2021, the Nathaniel trial officially began. The police gathered a total of 31 witnesses, including Nathaniel Maria's girlfriend. In fact, when the police arrived, Maria expressed her willingness to cooperate, to provide everything we know without hiding anything. Maria said they had known each other for a long time, but recently they officially met. Nathaniel has a black Chevrolet and often wanders around the 5 Points area. On the evening of March 28th, Nathaniel did not return home. Maria texted him, but he did not respond. Until 7 a.m. on the 29th, she saw Nathaniel's car parked nearby. In a hurry to go to work, Maria asked him to take her to work. On the way, Maria accidentally saw a blood stain on the back seat. When asked what happened, Nathaniel only said, "Don't get involved in his business." She also saw a pink iPhone on the car, clearly a woman's. When asked about the source of the phone, Nathaniel said he received it and would delete all the data and give it to her. However, Maria refused because she did not like the iPhone. That afternoon, when she went to work, Maria saw that Nathaniel's clothes were also stained with blood. He also brought a large amount of coconut oil and hand cream to clean the car. Seeing his strange behavior, Maria asked, but Nathaniel was angry and pushed her out. However, she still managed to see a 2-toothed knife stuck with blood in the car. After seeing the news of Samantha's case, Maria felt terrified but did not dare to report to the police. She lived in fear until the police came. Then she felt relieved and ready to tell everything. Based on Maria's statement, the police searched around her house and found a 2-toothed knife in the trash can. The results showed that the unique structure of this knife was completely in line with the victim's wound, and the mark on it was also confirmed to be Samantha's. From there, it was confirmed that it was the murder weapon. In the trash can, there was also Nathaniel's blood-stained shirt and a bed sheet, a towel, and blood-stained gloves. All belonged to Samantha. These are the conclusive evidence of Nathaniel's crime. In addition, the police also collected a lot of additional evidence. The phone location data shows that on the morning of the 29th, Nathaniel, and Samantha's phone signal left Columbia together, moving at speed 378. Finally, they stopped at New Giant, where they found Samantha. At 5:43 a.m. on March 29th, Samantha's bank in Wells Fargo was tried to withdraw money 9 times. The surveillance camera at the ATM showed a stranger trying to make a transaction. This person covered his face, tried to enter the password many times, but failed. Finally, he left the scene. A witness witnessed this scene. Based on the time of the incident, it can be determined that at that time, Samantha was abducted. Although it was not clear the face of the cashier, based on the face and height, it can be confirmed that this person was Nathaniel. At about 11 a.m. on March 29th, Nathaniel went to a hardware store and tried to sell Samantha's iPhone. When the staff opened the phone lock, they saw the picture of a woman. Asked about the source of the phone, Nathaniel replied positively and could not give a reasonable explanation. Therefore, the store staff refused to buy the phone. As a result, the phone was still in Nathaniel's car. From the evidence collected, it can be almost confirmed that Nathaniel was the murderer. However, the trial did not go as planned. Nathaniel's attorney immediately argued that Samantha's fingerprints did not find Nathaniel's DNA. Therefore, he could not be the murderer. According to the theory, if Samantha was attacked, she would resist violently, and there would be the fingerprints of the evil enemy. But in fact, there was no such thing. This proves that Nathaniel is innocent. Because of this, the prosecution argued that if the attack was too sudden and violent, Samantha may not have a chance to resist. Or maybe she tried to resist by touching the murderer's clothes so she could not leave the DNA fingerprints. Moreover, through the examination, Samantha's fingerprints were cut off within 2 days after being killed. This could be Nathaniel's action to erase the traces to cover up his crime. When this argument was not effective, the prosecution gathered more witnesses to protect the client. Nathaniel's family said that on March 28, 2019, Nathaniel drank and slept all night and had no chance to go out. Nathaniel's father also said that on March 29th, Nathaniel found the car key missing and then found the key in the trunk. When he opened the car door, he found a lot of blood inside. Therefore, someone may have used Nathaniel's car to harm his innocent son. Nathaniel's family, friends, and middle school coaches all tried to prove that he was a good person. Although there was suspicion, it could not cause such a heinous crime. However, these words could not transfer the evidence from the prosecution. On July 27, 2021, after more than an hour of questioning, the court unanimously concluded that Nathaniel was guilty of cyberbullying and kidnapping. In the final statement, Nathaniel's mother pleaded that her son was a good person and could not commit a crime. But the judge said that Nathaniel's behavior was too cruel and disgusting. This is one of the most serious and brutal cyberbullying he has ever seen. The court. Therefore, there is no tolerance. Finally, Nathaniel was sentenced to life imprisonment. It is noteworthy that during the process of trial, as well as when the case was sentenced, Nathaniel still kept a cool face and did not regret it. This really made people use themselves. Although the evil enemy received the deserved sentence, Samantha's departure left an unforgettable pain for her family. Her parents often shed tears of pain every time they think of more than 100 injuries on their daughter's body. After thinking about the departure of her daughter, Samantha's parents realized a cause that could not be ignored leading to this tragedy: the phone call service. If their daughter did not get on the wrong car, the attacker may not have had a chance to commit the crime. So they launched a campaign to promote safety when using the technology car service. At the same time, they also established the What's My Name Fund, which focuses on public education about safety when riding a technology car, sponsoring charitable organizations, and giving scholarships to some middle school students. Samantha's parents also cooperate with legislators to promote legislative reforms to improve the safety of passengers when using the technology car service. Thanks to their efforts, in June 2019, South Carolina signed a safety law for the technology car service called Samantha. This law is called the SAMI Law. According to the law, technology cars must be clearly marked in front and behind the car, and both windows must also have a display board with the driver's name and license plate to make it easy for passengers to identify. In addition, the law also stipulates a strict fine for those who falsely claim to be a technology driver, with a fine of up to $500 and up to 30 days in prison. Those who use the technology car service to commit a crime may be fined up to $1,000 and up to 2 years in prison. In addition, passengers are also advised to be careful when getting on the car. Before getting on the car, they should ask the driver, "What's my name?" because only a real replacement will know the driver's license plate. This law also uses the name Samantha to remind people that the last check before getting on the car is extremely important. In addition, the Sami law has been recognized by the New York State and improved step by step. By July 2020, the law was approved by the U.S. House of Representatives with absolute consensus. Although the process of passing the law was difficult and uncertain, finally, in 2023, the Sami law has officially become a federal law. Samantha's case is a horrific crime that shows the brutality and coldness of the perpetrator. Although the justice has been implemented with a case for Nathaniel, the pain that the case caused the victim's family is unparalleled. The approval of the Sami law is an important step to protect passengers using the technology car service, but it is also a bitter reminder that these protection measures are always replaced by unparalleled losses. So today's case is over. Can similar cases happen in the future? After this case, how many people really change their habits and need to be careful when riding a technology car? Please leave your comments below for us to discuss. And before leaving, don't forget to support us by liking and subscribing, turning on the notification bell to continue watching the most classic cases on Dark Case channel.